interesting and important. Number 4, what is the Buddhist concept of heaven and hell? These two words, heaven and hell, are very, very important to maintain a religion. In fact, I don't think that a religion can exist without heaven or without hell. If heaven and hell were closed down, we will stop all our religious activities also. Depend on heaven, scared of hell. So whatever we do by aiming at heaven and to escape from hell is called religion. But when you study the basic teachings of the Buddha, you can see the Buddha has gone beyond that. Please remember this. There are few discourses. One particular discourse is called Kalama Sutra, a well-known discourse of the Buddha. It's a group of young people who could not decide how to accept a reasonable religion came and discussed this matter with the Buddha. Then he has given various reasons for them to consider very unbiasedly. Everybody respect the Buddha's way of interpretations and advices given for these young people. After that, he found out that these young people do not believe in rebirth, existence again after their death. And they also do not believe in heaven or hell. The Buddha did not try to influence them to believe that there is or there will be a life hereafter, or heaven and hell exist or not, by knowing their mentality. But he has given very simple advice. He said, you should not bother about rebirth or heaven and hell. You must fulfill all your duties when you are here in this world. You can understand what is right and what is wrong. So if you can carry on your way of life in this way, that is enough for you. You cannot expect this kind of advice from a religious teacher. I think you can understand the deep meaning of the Buddha's saying. That means without aiming or without considering about the next life or heaven or hell, we try to lead our human life by maintaining our human dignity without abusing our human intelligence, without harming others, and by fulfilling our duties and responsibilities and obligations, automatically we are religious. And not necessary to give any particular religious label also for that. Because all the good qualities are common to everybody, irrespective of different religions or even without any religion. Take, for instance, our honesty, kindness or compassion, and generosity. All these good qualities are common to everybody without any discrimination. As Buddhists, we cannot say that we are more honest, more kind, and more generous than others. Can we say? No. And the followers of other religions also uphold many of those good qualities. Not only that, there are many others in this world who do not possess any religion, never claim any religion. They never think of any religion. But in them also we can find these good qualities. They are known as humane qualities. Again, cruelty, selfishness, hatred. Everybody accepts that these things are bad. Every religion says these things are bad. Those who have no religion also say these things are bad. This is the way how the Buddha has advised people to uphold certain good qualities and to keep away certain bad practices. In another discourse, Buddha has given very strange interpretation about heaven and hell. He says, we should not think that hell is located somewhere under this earth or under the great ocean or under the bottom of this Mahameru, the imaginary, the huge, the rock here in this world that is imaginary. Now remember, in the basic teachings of the Buddha, but all the other religions believe that there is a ready-made place created by God for people to suffer who violate the commandments or the laws given by the God. Here you can see the difference between Buddhism and other religions. The Buddha has never said that there is a hell for those who have violated the advice or the principles or the precept introduced by the Buddha. He knows it. So this is a very important advice given by the Buddha for us to consider. So if we can understand this, we can settle so many problems related to heaven and hell. On the other hand, many other religions try to introduce hell as an eternal place where people suffer forever. There is no end. But Hindus and Buddhists do not accept this belief. So according to Buddhism and Hinduism, not only heaven and hell, there are so many other places, planes of existence where different type of living beings experience pleasant and unpleasant feeling or sufferings or enjoyment. And those places are not eternal or permanent. There is a time limit according to the degrees or the gravity of their good and bad action that they have committed. Maybe few hundred years or few thousands of years. One day there will be an end. Many intellectuals all over the world appreciate and accept this interpretation. How can we justify that there will be eternal suffering for a man who has done some mistake? Cannot justify. On the other hand, assume a God has created us. He has given us only one life to fulfill all our duties and responsibilities and train and learn and purify. Only one life. So if we could not fulfill this within one lifetime due to our weaknesses or ignorance or misunderstanding, is it justifiable to condemn us to suffer forever? Especially a well-known Western philosopher, Julius Huxley, argued. He said, under any circumstances, they are not going to accept this belief, the eternal suffering. So Buddhism and Hinduism explain rebirth can take place according to our good and bad karmas that we have committed. Because we are not perfect. We make mistake. The main cause of that we have ignorance. We have human emotion. We have craving for pleasure. Because of this, we develop our jealousy, anger, enmity, and make mistake. Now, how can we justify that it is reasonable for a creator to condemn us to suffer forever? Why not give another chance at least? Then how can we accept such God as merciful? Where is that mercy? These are the arguments that many educated people bring forward to show that they are not ready to accept. Then, heaven or paradise, to others that is the end, the last, forever. After our death, the soul or the spirit or self or whatever it may be landed there and remain forever. This is their belief. Again, Buddhism and Hinduism never accept this belief. They do believe there are such places which we can introduce as heaven or paradise. According to them, there is only one place, one heaven and one hell. According to Hinduism and Buddhism, there are many places in different planes of existence where those living beings experience heavenly bliss as well as suffering. Suffering is called hell. So, enjoyment or the wonderful, peaceful, pleasant, contented life in heaven also not permanent. This is the Buddhist concept. Don't accept a permanent enjoyment or happiness or peace in heaven. Rebirth can take place in one of those places to lead a very peaceful, nice time, according to our own merits. Another person is not responsible for that. For our pleasant or unpleasant life, we are individually responsible. By praying or worshipping or offering, we cannot change this. But others try to get rid of their sins or the bad karmas they have committed by praying and asking forgiveness. The Buddha says it is impossible and also not justifiable if there is someone who can do that. Why it is not justifiable? A God who created us keep quiet when we violate peace and happiness of innocent people when we develop our cruelty and hatred and disturb others, destroy others, God keep quiet. After committing all these things, we go and ask forgiveness. If there is such God to forgive this kind of sins, He can encourage people to commit more and more sins. Because they are not scared to commit sin. There is somebody to forgive. On the other hand, those who have not believed such concept that there will be someone who can forgive us, who has never paid, pray or worship, but before their death, they say, oh, now we believe. Now we believe there will be a God. We pray and we worship. We hope that God will forgive us, wash away all our sins and take us to heaven. Do you think it really works? There are many who change their religion at the last moment, thinking straight away they can go to heaven after violating, committing all kind of cruelty and selfishness and immoral practices. Oh, why worry? God is there to forgive us. Buddhism never encouraged this. So your duty is to learn these things earlier, not at the last moment when you are going to die. Too late. So, attana katang papang attana kilissati. Attana akatang papang attana visujjati. Suddhi asuddhi pacchatang na anyamanya visodhe. This is the Buddha's saying in Dhammapada. Meaning, you are responsible for all your bad deeds that you have committed. And you are also responsible for all the good deeds that you have done, merits or demerits, good karma or bad karma. Na anyamanya visodhe. Another person cannot change this. Another person cannot purify you. God or the Buddha also cannot purify you if you have not listened what he has taught as advice. The last moment you can say, now I believe, I worship, please save me. It doesn't work. By committing evils, you have polluted your own mind. So your own mind is responsible for your next life. Then how can another person change it? So, Hinduism also believes rebirth can take place in the same manner. But they also believe there is a God who reward and punish. according to our own good and bad karmas. This is the difference between Hinduism and Buddhism. And Buddhism never entertained that belief also there is another God or another supernatural living beings who can handle our good and bad karma. So God cannot change our karma, either good karma or bad karma. Again he says, good karmas. During our lifetime, we accumulate so many things because of our craving. It is natural. We collect money, jewelries, valuable things, antique houses, lands, and so many other things. And we experience some sort of worldly happiness. This is the nature of worldly life. To you, these things are very important. The Buddha did not discourage. But remember, these things are usable or useful as long as you live in this world. You can make use of them. But after your last breath, after your death, all those things that you have accumulated become useless to you. Others may experience, enjoy their life. It is good. Because you cannot carry anything from this world. Everything that you have collected as your property to enjoy your life in the next world. Of course, there are people who put so many things into the coffin, thinking that the departed person carry all those things, clothing and money and everything. That is our traditional belief, I think introduced by primitive people according to their way of thinking at that time. Because they had no idea about the nature of death and the nature of rebirth. They had their own imagination. But there are two things that we carry with us after our death. We never go with empty hands. Artha gruhe nivurtante. Everything what we have collected remains at home. We cannot carry with us after our death. Smasane mitra bandhava. Our relatives and friends follow us up to the graveyard or crematory. They go and cry and pay last respect and come back, and nobody wants to go with that person who is dead and gone. Husband and wife also, like they come back. But that departed person has departed from this world by carrying two things. Sukritang, duskritang, chaya. So whatever he has done as good deeds and bad deeds, good karma or bad karma, whether they have religion or not, whether they believe in God or not, whether they believe in the Buddha or not, this is natural. No one can change this. And good and bad karmas. So now, the fate, the destiny of this departed person depend on the weight of the good karma and bad karma. Remember this. Which one is heavier, either this one or this one? Weigh. The mind weighs. Then the mental energy had to surrender to that weight. If good karma is heavy, definitely rebirth can take place in a favorable state where they can experience some sort of happiness. If bad karmas are heavy, then it is impossible to have a better rebirth. Then rebirth can take place in an unfortunate state to experience more suffering. But there is nobody to handle this. Religion cannot change this. The Buddha cannot change this. God cannot change this. Our own mind. Now, if I am stubborn, cruel, selfish, cunning, another person cannot change my mind unless I decide to change. Do you agree? Here, this is enough for you to understand. If I am kind, honest, generous, by nature, another person cannot change this. That is my intrinsic character. This is called good and bad karma. Another person cannot handle it. Now when you learn these things earlier, then you try to train your mind to avoid certain bad habits and to cultivate certain good habits. The knowledge is important for that. But mere knowledge cannot do anything if you are not ready to change your mental attitude. All these arguments are very reasonable, very unbiased. When we use our common sense unbiasedly, without depending on traditional belief, superstitious ideas, and various concepts, then we can understand, yes, it is true. And this is the way how the Buddha tried to introduce a religious way of life. Then, in conclusion, when people ask, what is the Buddhist attitude about heaven and hell? Then, from the Buddhist point of view, you can say, yes, we do accept heavens, not heaven, heavens and hells, plural, not singular, exist in any part of the universe, not only in one particular place. Second point, these places were not created by either Buddha or God. Sufferings and pleasure we experience according to the nature, cosmic laws, natural phenomena. When we rob a person, we violate the natural law, and this law was not created by another person. It is natural law. When we kill a person, we violate the natural law. Then the reaction or the effect, the consequences are also not created by the Buddha or God, also natural. That is why another person cannot change it. Think for a while. Assume we have done a lot of bad deeds, mistake, due to our ignorance, our craving, or our anger. Later, by considering very deeply, we realize that our attitude or our way of life is wrong. Then you decide, you make up your mind not to repeat such evil deeds in future. You determine your mind does this. After that, you try to do more and more good deeds from that day onwards. Good karmas. What is the meaning of doing good karmas? Praying, worshipping, offering, reciting. Not enough. Anyone can do. Good deeds means by reducing our selfishness, by reducing our anger and jealousy and grudge and enmity, we try to do some service to others, to relieve others' sufferings and worries and sicknesses and problems. These are called merits and good deeds. You cannot do such good deeds by maintaining your selfishness and anger and jealousy. You have to reduce all these things. And then the purity in the mind you are developing. You reduce evil forces, cultivate good forces. This is the Buddhist attitude. Now, which method is reasonable, justifiable, and useful? After committing all sorts of evil and wicked and immoral things and go and pray and worship, asking forgiveness without doing any good deeds? Or after stopping all these bad deeds and by cultivating good qualities, accumulating more merit, you maintain mental purity. Then you may get the chance. There is no guarantee. If earlier you have done very heavy bad karmas, weighty karmas, it is not so easy for you to topple or to suspend the effect of such karmas, because they are very bad things. Influence your mind, polluted your mind, and not so easy to repair. But certain bad deeds, mistakes that we have done earlier are not very heavy. So when you develop more and more good deeds, when you maintain some purity in your mind, then you get the chance to overcome the bad effects of the bad deeds that you have done. Then after your death, you may get the chance to be born in a better condition or to have a better life. But don't forget, the effects of the bad deeds that you have done earlier never disappear. You cannot wash away them. They also follow, just like your shadow. Whenever you are weak, that means when you neglect your righteous way of life, religious way of life, then the remaining bad karmas just followed you for some time, get the chance to attack you, affect you. Now this is the nature of karma. You cannot escape. In another discourse, Dhammapada, Buddha says, na antalikhe na samuddha majje. After committing certain bad deeds, you may go and hide somewhere in a safety place, thinking that the bad karma cannot affect you. In the next birth also, the Buddha says you cannot escape. There is no place for you to go and hide to escape from the bad effects. But you can overcome by doing more and more good deeds. This is very important for us to adjust our way of life. Then, what is the final analysis of heaven and hell? Whenever we experience very unfortunate, miserable, unfortunate life, physically and mentally, whether as human beings or animals or ghosts or spirits or devils, such places we regard as hell. Most miserable, unfortunate life. That is the meaning of hell. Not one particular ready-made place under this earth. Again, whenever we experience very pleasant, peaceful, satisfactory, contented life, either as human beings or devas or brahmas Such places we regard as heaven. I can give another example. The Buddha's saying, a very rich man came to see the Buddha and told him very frankly, we are worldly people, we like to enjoy worldly life, pleasure. And we have no time to meditate and observe all the precepts and this and that. Even then, we too like to experience heavenly bliss. So can you please tell me how to experience this heavenly bliss after our death? Then the Buddha said, why do you want to wait until you die to experience heavenly bliss? You can experience heavenly bliss while you are here in this world. Hindrances. What are those things? On how we handle this valuable human life. Unfortunately, due to our ignorance and craving, these two things mislead us, persuade us, encourage us to commit more bad things. So religion is to tell us how to avoid, how to stop all these bad things. That is the duty of religion. A religion cannot create all those things. Religious principles or commandments or religious laws were not created by religion. Religion cannot create them. The Buddha cannot create them. God cannot create them. This is the bad effects of the bad elements that we maintain in our human minds. If we are selfish, we can do any cruel thing, any bad things, disregarding how others suffer. Nobody else is responsible for that. If we are wise, if we can understand things properly, then we know how to curtail, how to reduce such mental attitude and selfishness. Then allow others also to enjoy their life. The biggest problem in this world today that people do not allow others to live in peace. Always go and disturb. Robbing, bluffing, swindling, cheating, threatening, killing. Then what is the cause? Can you say devil is responsible for this? When we cannot understand, we say devil. The devil is nature in the mind. Create all these things. Today we are not scared of animals. not scared of devils and ghosts and spirits also. Many people are not scared of them because they realize most of them are imaginations created by the man. But man is scared of another man. All these troubles, problems, miseries are created by man, not by God or devil or ghost. If that man's mind is trained, disciplined properly, then others also can live peacefully. We can live peacefully. Now when you go out at this time, can you go home with full confidence, without fear, without suspicion? Even after reaching your home also, you do not know what has happened there. This is the nature of the human mind today. Those days when people were not educated, they could not use their sense of reasoning. Why these things are bad and why these things are good. Just like small children. When you explain to small children, these things are very bad and these things are very good, they cannot understand. Then they have adopted this method. What is this? If you do these things, these good things, we will give you chocolates, ice creams, and toys. Then they realize, oh yes, these things are good because we get this thing. Again, when you ask your children not to do certain things, they cannot understand why they are bad. Then you threaten them, if not beat them. Then they will stop because of the fear. This is the way how they try to introduce religion, by introducing, illustrating heaven and hell to practice religion. Reward from God, heaven. Punishment from God, hell. Exactly like this. Otherwise they never listened. Even today, to many people, these two concepts, heaven and hell, are very important. If there is no heaven, there are many who never do any service to mankind. They become more selfish. They never consider about others. Because of this heaven, they try to do some good deeds. That is selfishness. For their own benefit, go and enjoy their life in heaven. They do something for others. Otherwise, they don't want to do anything. Is it not selfishness? In my case, I never had such idea in my mind so far that after my death that I want to go to heaven. I do not know why. I am not doing all these good things to go and enjoy my life in heaven. But I know for all the good deeds that I perform I experience some good result. So I am not aiming at heaven to do good deeds. Again, when some selfish ideas, anger, jealousy, or bad thoughts appear in my mind, then that polluted mental energy encourage me to do some bad things. At that time, I never think, oh, if I do this, I have to go to hell. Therefore, I don't know what to do. That is selfishness. That means I have not developed my mind. Why this attitude is wrong? Because of the fear of hell, I think I don't want to do this. I have to suffer if I do this. It is selfishness. Here again, the beauty of the Buddha's teaching. You must try to understand why killing, destroying, disturbing others is wrong. Not because of hell or suffering. You can understand why it is wrong. You can see how others suffer because of you. When you kill an animal, you can see how that poor animal struggles to escape from death, fear of death. That is why he said, Attanan upamang kattva nahaneya nagate. If you cannot understand if this killing, torturing others is wrong, then compare with your life. Think how you feel when another person come and try to kill you, beat you, attack you. Then that is enough for you to understand why it is bad. Is it necessary for you to create that idea, oh, I don't want to kill, because if I kill, I have to go and suffer in the hell? There is no understanding in your mind why killing is bad. For your own sake, you keep away from that. Buddhism tries to enlighten people, educate people, do good by realizing why they are good, not because of heaven. Keep away from bad deeds, considering your bad deeds can create enormous suffering. Then stop. Understanding appeared already in your mind. If forever you depend on heaven and hell to do good deeds and to avoid bad deeds, no realization in your mind never appears. Religionists have illustrated heaven and hell in such a way. Heaven, beautiful illustration, interpretations to create temptation, to develop your craving, anxiety in your mind. Oh, how nice! If I can go to heaven, I can enjoy my life. They illustrate. Those days when people were not educated, in every shrine room, temples, there are pictures, wall painting. Now there they explain how these people enjoy their life in heaven, one deva with so many girlfriends, and how they enjoy life, eating, drinking, dancing. Then others think, oh yes, we also must do some good deeds so that we also can have life like this. This is the language at that time, because people could not read, no education. Again, on the other hand, hell, cutting and nailing and burning and poking and see, they have done this, this is the way how they suffer. They have done this kind of bad deeds, see the way how they suffer. Oh, scared, then we also should not do this, we have to suffer. So they maintain this for thousands of years. And today, modern education, scientific educations, very advanced. But even then, our selfishness, jealousy, anger, evil forces are very strong. That is why we make mistakes. All those who make mistakes, they know very well these things are bad. But their selfishness eclipses, overshadow that knowledge. That is knowledge, but not realization. Then when you study how those Rajas, Maharajas and all the others, multi-millionaires, enjoyed their life, especially in India and China and various other countries, the enjoyment that they illustrate in heaven are the same enjoyments that those people experience at that time, illustrated. Again, the punishment in hell also they have illustrated by showing how those kings and rulers punish many of those culprits for their crimes. This burning and poking and sawing and cutting and all these things, the punishment they have practiced in those days. So they have illustrated the same thing and introduced as hell. But from the Buddhist point of view, in Buddhism also you can see the same stories, same illustration. But remember, they are not the basic teachings of the Buddha, not the Buddha's saying, but later the commentators, Buddhist scholars, Buddhist writers, they have illustrated, exaggerated and introduced heaven and hell exactly in the same manner how others explain. But when you refer to the basic teachings of the Buddha, you can understand the real Buddhist attitude towards heaven and hell. I think you have heard a well-known American writer, Ingersoll. I do not know whether you have read. He has written many books. He was a critic. In one of his books, he has mentioned, instead of going to heaven, he preferred to go to hell. Why? according to our religion in that country, in America at that time, all those intellectuals, scientists, great thinkers, rationalists had no chance to go to heaven because they did not believe in Creator God. They are in hell, including the Buddha. The Buddha also in hell, because he did not believe this Creator God. Now if I go to heaven, that heaven can become a very dull place for me. No intellectuals there. So heaven is good for playboys, not for me. I prefer to go to hell. I can meet those intellectuals. I can have a nice time in hell. This is the way how they ridicule that belief introduced by other religions. There are many scholars, writers, they wanted to joke with this belief. So we create our own imagination by thinking about heaven, and we do not know what it is, where it is, whether it really exists or not. We do not know anything. Just because others come and promise, if you accept this, if you believe this, after your death, you can go to heaven. Oh yes, I am ready. But you do not know what will happen to you after your death. And that's why the Buddha did not want to mislead people, bluff, just to please others, to increase their craving. Then, hell also, I told you just now, not located and not eternal. Suffering is limited according to the degree of our bad karmas. Again rebirth take place. Then how rebirth can take place after suffering for a long period? Remember, during our lifetime, every day, every hour, if not every minute, we create either good karma or bad karma. You never think this. Do you know that? Every minute, either good karma or bad karma. So I can give few examples. Without uttering even one word, without doing anything, you create some idea, thought in your mind. Your anger, your hatred, your jealousy, your selfishness. When you implanted this in your mind, you create bad karma. That means you pollute your mind. Bad karma means you pollute your own mind. Then it will become a karma. You deposit a karmic seed, bad karmic seed. Again, when you develop your kindness towards somebody, if not, you think, I must do something, some sort of service to relieve their suffering, worries, fear. You create good karma in your mind. When you develop your selfishness and plan, think how to bluff others or rob others and get them. You created a bad karma in your mind. without doing anything. This is the danger of our life. Again, you develop some good thoughts in your mind. I must do something to educate others, to enlighten others, to encourage others to keep away from bad things. Tell others not to do such evil things. All these are good karmas. Now you are listening to a religious talk. Now at this moment, you don't allow such ideas to come and occupy in your mind. At this moment, you suppressed, subdue your jealousy, anger, and all sort of evil forces. And you are concentrating. You guard your mind without allowing certain other forces to come and disturb your mind. This is a meritorious deed. This is a good karma. Concentration on good object is a good karma. Not necessary to do anything. Then after that, after creating such thoughts in your mind, you want to say something. When anger arises, you go and use all the dirty, vulgar, wicked word and scold. Then you committed again another bad karma. First the thought, then action, word. After scolding, accusing, blaming and developing your anger, you beat him. Then action, another karma. So this kind of bad karmas and good karmas, every minute you create in your mind. Go on accumulating up to the last moment. That's why I told you, when you are going to die, all these things project, deposited karmic seed, good and bad, projects, reflects. Then weighty karma. Which part is heavy? Black or white? Good or bad? If you have created more bad thoughts, bad words, bad actions, less chances for you to have a better rebirth. Not only rebirth, within this lifetime you had to suffer. You have fear in your mind because of the bad deeds you have done. Worries in your mind. But when you do some good deeds, you can maintain happiness. Idhanandati, vechanandati. Here the Buddha says, those who have done more meritorious deeds experience happiness within this life. No need to wait until you die. Pechanandati, after our death also we experience happiness because of our good deed. Again he says, Idha tappati, pecha tappati. Here he grieves, here he suffers. After committing evil deeds, he knows he has done a lot of bad deeds. Pecha tappati, hereafter, after his death, also he suffers because rebirth has taken place in a suffering state. And that is why it is necessary for us to learn these things earlier. At the last moment we cannot change by taking another religious label. That label cannot do anything for you. Because your own mind is responsible for your next life. Another person cannot change it. So, try to introduce religion by creating temptation and illustrating heaven. Try to introduce religion by creating fear in the man's mind, by illustrating hell. That is what all the other religionists are doing. Religion means heaven and hell. They talk only about heaven or hell. That is religion. But we can talk about religion, Buddhism, without talking heaven or hell. That is the beauty in Buddhism.